The Somewhat Wicked Witch of Brigandale. Now, how does one become a somewhat wicked witch? Only part of the time, you know? Or is that just, all the villagers just think witches are all wicked? Well, today we're going to talk about The Somewhat Wicked Witch of Brigandale by C.M. Waggoner, and this is just a cozy, cute, kind of funny, humorous little fantasy book. And it follows the story of this witch named Gretzella. And, she lives in the woods and just, wants people to kind of mind their own business. And she'll sell them, potions and different things for reasonable prices. And one day, someone leaves a baby on her doorstep that is screaming at the top of his head. So she ends up taking him in and raising him. She names him Bradley. And at some point in time, the small creatures of the forest, once Bradley reaches the age of 18, starts prophesying and saying that Bradley is the lost prince and he is the heir to the throne. And Gretzella wants nothing to do with this. And Bradley has been blessed as a very kind and handsome child. And because of those attributes, he never really developed a persona per se outside of just being nice, and didn't ever really try to think too hard. So doesn't think for himself. So anytime he got stuck on something and wasn't sure how to do something, he would just, rely on his good looks and charm for someone else to answer the question for him and to basically tell him what to do. So he just wants to be told what to do, which is why if he were to be king, he wouldn't be a very good king, because he would want to try to please everyone, and he would want other people to tell him what to do so he could easily be manipulated and whatnot. So Gretzella's like, bad news bears, singing mice, shut your face, little squirrels, whoever else is yelling about this, all these talking animals of the forest, stop saying this. Don't get in Bradley's ear. He doesn't need to know this. So Bradley, as he grew up to be a hairdresser, which he loved. He was really good at it. Eventually, the people of the nation where they live in this kingdom, some of the men come and they're like, they want him to be the king and take over. And so, this is the direction the book's going in. So, but Gretzella really just wants to foil all this happening because she knows that he will not be a good king, and it will be to the downfall and detriment of the kingdom, especially if the wrong person gets a hold of him. So first off, she tries to not let him hear about any of this. Oh, and he was also blessed with a third thing, because when she did get this baby and decided she was going to raise him, she had her coven come and they all blessed him. And so the first was to be kind, the other was to be handsome, and the other witch was like, I'm going to bless him with a mean right hook. And then Gretzella was kind of pissed off about that. She's like, why would you do that? Is that really a blessing? She's like, well, if people take advantage of him, at least, you can get a good punch in there, if people are not being so great. So eventually he hears what the creatures are saying because they come into his hair salon, and then he's like, hey, and he tells his mom, who Gretzella is his mom, she raised him, maybe not by blood, but that's all he's ever known. And she tries to talk him out of wanting to be the king, and eventually, like, all these other people come, like I said, the men of the village or whatever, and they're like, we want you to be the king, we want to go overthrow the king who's in the castle. And so they're able to do that, and especially because Bradley has a mean right hook. So he's able to punch the other guy right in the face, and the other dudes take out the guards and whatnot. And so he ends up taking place as king and immediately makes a ton of really horrible choices that crash the economy and just make things really pretty awful, because he's never had to think for himself before. He usually just lets people tell him what to do. So eventually, Gretzella, she sets out to like foil these plans. I'm not going to go too deep into it because it's a novella, and if I give away too much of the plot, it's cute, it's quirky, there's like a kind of sweet, like as a side plot romance in it. For me personally, I love a little cozy fantasy here and there because I read a lot of horror, and it's nice to have like the break between all the carnage that I read. So having something with that warmth and enjoyment and cuteness is nice. And it's still witchy and it's still weird. And we love some witchy and weird here. This is the first time I've read this author, C.M. Waggoner. I believe they have a handful of other books as well, so I might be curious to check out some of those. I just thought this was fun. A nice read, you could take it with you to the, like, now that the weather's getting warmer, I'm like, beach read, outside, take this book with you. It's short and sweet. So what happens? Does he ruin the kingdom completely? Is Gretzella able to foil him and get him out of there as king? But like at some point it's like, who's going to be the next king? Is it going to be worse? Is something else gonna happen? Who knows? If any of that sounds good to you, definitely check it out. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.